back. Thanks for doing this. Mark, we recorded last week, and we had some lighting issues. I had, which we might get it today too, some like PA announcements in the background here at Gearhart. So Mark was gracious enough to sit down and do it again.
That's right. We're all learning. Like Zoom and lighting and all this stuff's new for me. I think for everybody, I looked like I was in the shadows for the past 3 days, and I finally got some lights.
Nice. So, well, for those of you who aren't familiar, can you tell everybody who you are and the name of your company and what you do?
Yeah. My name is Mark Cardone. I own Rooftop Realty Group and Cardone Consulting. I'm a commercial real estate broker, and I help mostly brick and mortar retail restaurants expand into new locations and open new stuff. So,
Cool.
Kind of working more on the business owner side than on the landlord side, trying to help business owners understand what to negotiate and things like that.
Yeah. So these are obviously really weird times. There isn't a playbook for this. Nobody ever took a course on, how to get through a pandemic. So can you give, maybe 1, 2, 3, however many points, advice to somebody who's listening to this, who's either a small business owner or a restaurant owner, going through this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of restaurants out there, and I know everybody's trying super hard. And actually, since we talked last time, I've been super excited to see that a lot of the local restaurants are actually running out of inventory. Like, the support has been, so robust for people. I think that's just been great. I understand that people are still low on employees and things aren't amazing, but at least people are doing what they can. When it comes to real estate, there's a couple things that are happening. The first one, and the one we kind of talked about, was, we have people who aren't paying their rent, who, just like the money isn't there, and most businesses don't carry enough, capital to, pay rent. And some people are wondering if they even should, because we don't know when this is going to end. So with that point, if you're a business owner and you're in a position where you're having trouble, thinking about that rent payment that's coming up, or even your mortgage payment if you own your building, the best thing you can do at this point, I always go back to Patrick Swayze and Roadhouse. It's be nice. You know what I mean? It's, as small business owners, our businesses are our children, and we protect them, and we're passionate about them, and we tend to negotiate, very strongly on our own behalf. And as you can imagine, landlords and banks are getting inundated with calls right now. So a couple points that I've been giving people, there is, the opportunity to ask a landlord to forgive, a month of rent. There's the opportunity to ask a landlord to kind of cut the rent down a little bit, maybe just pay expenses. But most importantly, what we need to be thinking about, for people who've listened to Zig Ziglar, his favorite negotiating tactic was everyone's favorite radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? And that's always the landlord's perspective. So if you're looking to negotiate with your landlord, keeping in mind that you should have something that we're offering. If we're asking for a free month now, maybe we offer a month on the end. So we're giving them an extra month of lease term in exchange for a little forgiveness right now. Most landlords I've talked to are happy to work with small business owners to make this work okay. And we talked a little bit, that doesn't mean all of them are. Some people are looking at their lease, and people who have asked, I'm happy to, kind of bomb through leases and take a look. But you should really be looking, if you're in that position, you should be looking for your force majeure clause, which is basically something that says, hey, in the case of a catastrophe, war, famine, shutdowns and things like that, there's some protection in there for you. It doesn't let you out of your lease. It doesn't relieve, anything really, but what it does is it at least gives you something to go to your landlord with and say, is this something we should talk about? And again, always going back to be nice, because threatening and things like that, landlords are in a tough spot. If they stop getting rent, they can't pay the mortgages on their buildings, and it's a cascading effect.
Yeah. It's really important. Everyone is feeling this right now, right? Yeah. Even if you're in an industry that's extremely busy, that you make a product, sell a product, have a service that people just, the floodgates have been open and they need that right now. Everyone is still feeling something. And, there's been a few that I've talked to, and I mean, listen, everything's justified. There's been a few people I've talked to that it just, everything is crashing down around them, and you can see it on their face and hear it in their voice. And then there's some that I've talked to who, even though those same things are happening to them, they are the nicest, friendliest. I went downtown on Sunday evening to just walk around and take pictures. And I posted this on Instagram, but I stopped outside of Possibilities and was taking pictures of their neon sign. And one of the guys who worked there came out and he was like, hey, do you need anything? He was probably checking to see if I was there for a pickup order, but we wound up just sitting there and talking for like 4 or 5 minutes. And as I go to walk away, he was like, hey, do you need any bread to take home? Or do you have enough at the house? Are you okay? Just, little things like that. Everybody's demeanor right now, and especially talking to their landlord, getting things that they need, getting help with things that, they're struggling with, having that, positive demeanor, happy demeanor right now is going to go a long way.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've had a lot of people ask is, is this a good time to be, talking about expanding or closing or selling or, things like that. And there's no easy answer. Everything's a case by case basis. I think if you're looking at, expanding, it goes back to, invest in what you know. You know what I mean? If you know the area and if there are things you were working on before, don't be afraid to, kind of relook at those numbers. I was telling people I'm working on a deal right now in Erie, Pennsylvania with a regional franchisee. And, we went out with an offer. It took the landlord about 6 months to get back to us with a counter. And now we're saying, our original offer doesn't really stand anymore because, the world's shifted.
Yeah.
So just, don't be afraid to, really give good thought to things before you make decisions. But at the end of the day, people are going to be eating again. This is going to go away at some point or the world's going to end. So don't be afraid to look at opportunities right now, especially when we have time on our hands.
Yeah, that's true. And with that, just to your point, I'm sure right now, if you are thinking about looking into a potential building or anything, you don't want to take advantage of the situation at all, but I'm sure that there's great opportunities out there.
Yeah. And I'm trying to tell people, you don't want to be a vulture. This right. is, and especially being somebody in real estate who, we are seen as the vultures of the world usually. There are going to be businesses who don't come out of this. And
right.
I think that's the unfortunate part of this is, and we've talked about it, this is a mindset game right now. Right. If you're focused on what you can do, how you can serve, and, and telling your story. You did a great interview with Jeff from Digital Hive talking about how to stay top of mind. And if people are doing that, they're going to come out of this. But, at the end of the day, there's going to be some, empty restaurant spaces out there. So, I think biding your time and kind of waiting is not a bad strategy.
Yeah. Well, how can people, if there's a restaurant or business owner that wants to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to my website, markcardone.com. I can't spell my name today. MarkCardone.com. Email me anytime, mark@markcardone.com. Happy to answer any questions. We have a couple of attorneys that we recommend out if you have legal questions on your lease. But we are here to help.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Mark, thanks so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Sounds good, my man. Thanks, Anthony. Have a good one.
Yep, you too.